The most famous art theft of all involved one man, Vincenzo Peruggia, who wanted to return the Mona Lisa to Italy. His plan was not complex, as he simply took the painting early in the morning and hid it under the white smock that he was wearing. It was not until 1913 that Peruggia would be arrested, and the Mona Lisa would return to the Louvre. That was just over 100 years ago. Clearly, that was theft by every definition. But in our world today, where we are interwebbed and woven by digital freedom, what do we consider art theft?
A woman in an international struggle. A foreign company selling counterfeit copies of her artwork. It's getting attention in Washington, D.C. It's a KRK4 News update for you. Arby McGrath says a Chinese company stole this image of her painting right off her website, then resold thousands and thousands of copies for $9 a piece. Profits that they made and she never saw. Congressman Tim Griffin recently held a press conference with Washington agencies to shed some light on the topic.
I was 13 years old when my mom and dad took me to Arby's salon for a haircut. I didn't expect much at first, but as you step inside, you realize that you're not just getting your hair styled by any regular hair expert. You are soon the empty canvas for an artist with decades of experience, her hands ready to go to work. My family usually went together, so when it wasn't my turn for a haircut, you're kind of left bored, looking through old magazines. But at Arby's salon, you get the special opportunity to see her real work, her art, just a step past the styling chair and through the portal.
When I first met her and saw what she was doing, she's a world-class artist living in my hometown. And how unusual is that? Pretty unusual, I think. And I still remember the first time I met her. It was after a concert I was playing in, and she came up and said she liked the music I was playing. She came to a couple of concerts, and then she came up and asked, she said she'd like to paint me, and she did. She said, come to my studio, this studio right here, and I'll put the lights how I want them. I'll paint you like Rembrandt would have painted you. And she did, and the painting is in my piano room, and she let me use it for the cover of my third CD.
Cutting hair and painting. That's what she does, paint, cut hair, paint, cut hair.
Her hair cutting was for bills, while her painting was her absolute passion. See, for years, in between her hair cutting, Arby McGrath had been painting, and painting, and painting. She painted everything. Abstract, landscape, self-portrait, still life, portraits of political figures, from mayors to presidents, even her own rendition of the Mona Lisa.
Roberta, may I help you? All right, what you need done, Steve? Yes, I have a 1, 2, a 3, or a 4 available. A 4 o'clock? So you want the 2 o'clock? Okay, I got you down for 2 o'clock for a trim. About 10 minutes. Okay. You have a good day. This is where my pursuit of my love of painting, my love of art began. And if it weren't for cutting hair and making a living and having that business, I wouldn't have been able to do that, because that's basically supported my artistic endeavors. And yeah, that's when it all started happening. Back about 1995, I got real serious about it. I thought I can do something with this. And I was also at that time thinking of down the line, how I was going to provide for myself when I got into my 70s and my 80s and my 90s without having to be reliant on society. In other words, be self-sufficient, which I've always relished being self-sufficient. And I knew that, like, when I get up to a certain stage, I'm not going to be able to stand behind that chair and do some of the physical things that are required in my day job. But I knew that I could always sit in a chair and paint. And maybe, just maybe, if I could get good enough, I could sustain myself into my later years through my art and provide for myself.
Just the quality of the work and the talent that's shown. There's some paintings here that if you didn't know were actual paintings, you would think that they were an actual photograph. The realism is just absolutely astounding.
I call it cityscapes, landscapes, what have you. In fact, they're displayed out here in our lobby at City Hall. And you know, you can hang something up, and after a while you start taking it for granted. You keep walking by it and you don't never notice it. And those pictures have been up close to a year, I suppose. And there's no way you can't keep them walking out here. As long as I see them, as much as I see them during the day, I keep walking by, I have to stop and look at those pictures, because it is scenes of our city that I think we're so blessed to have one like that, to do something like that.
When I am painting, when I am in the studio, when I'm involved in that work, it transports me to another world that I love being in. In order to develop your own style, you have to learn about other styles and techniques first, and the best way to do that is to copy the masters.
No, you know I don't want to spike up there. I don't want to spike up there.
You don't want to spike it up, huh?
No, a lot of the ladies in the pool, you know, I go to water up there, so they like my hair cut like this. Some of them have gotten it too.
Do you think?
Oh, it's okay. It's just like it is. You know, I like it.
Yeah.
Just
Not too fixed.
Not too fixed, right?
Yeah, but I like that little extra length on the top.
Well, we'll leave it that way. Yeah.
Bingo. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good.
Feel good?
Feels really
Then you're
good.
done. And if you
Yeah.
don't like it, you're still done. Hello.
Now listen, don't
Uh,
get sassy with me.
I can glue it all back on for $5,000.
Well, you know, I don't think that's gonna work.
The violin painting I did in 2006. It was when I had my home. Lucky me, I had a home, living the American dream. But I had set up my garage as an art studio. And a lot of times I'd be down there at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning time painting. And I had hung the violin on a pegboard that was in the garage, and that's what I used as the setting. It was painted from a live model. I knew when I first painted that violin that it was going to be a keeper. It was going to be a good one. It was going to do something. I was testing myself I was testing my ability in realism, and testing my hand-eye coordination by working from a live subject as opposed to working from, you know, a photograph or something like that, or working plein air. I wanted to try a live object.
On July 20th, 2014, Arby wanted to show me the evidence she had gathered in her case against Shaman Begal Company Limited.
How do you usually get your high resolution photos?
I take them myself, strictly outdoor natural light.
Cool.
That's the ones that I used. Cause see, I license my work to Fine Art America to make prints because I get a royalty from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to submit them really high resolution photos of the original painting. So I do it outdoor in natural light on a cloudy day. That's the best time. All right, here's Jamin Bigal's website ad for the violin. Bingo. Model BGSL0075, 100% handmade on canvas. 100% hand printed on canvas by machine. Bingo, look at that. They offer it in these sizes, anything from a 16 by 20 to a 48 by 72. You know how big that painting is, 48 by 72? They're advertising sizes all the way from 16 by 20, which would be the size of that small one on the end down there, all the way up to 48 by 72, which is taller than me. All right, here's the Biz Rice ad that Jamin is running with this platform called Biz Rice, and they advertise for Jamin Bigal. And these are one of the platforms that Jamin Bigal advertises on in the Asian countries.
The degree of the problem when you have a real life person, a living, breathing person in your district in central Arkansas who has a creation of her own hands and mind, and it ends up on a website out of China. That really drives home how real this problem is.
And this is called ectrade.com, and bingo, there it is. With my signature on it.
Is this a partnership with Jamin Bigal? Are they also selling it from the site as well?
All of these that I'm showing you are the one that I just showed you a minute ago was Jamin Bigal's website. These other ones are business-to-business platforms, and what they are is they're companies that allow Jamin Bigal Company Limited and other companies to advertise on their sites. That's why they're called business-to-business platforms. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or B2B. Oh, they're running it. There it is. The first company that I found that was advertising Jamin Bigal's knockoffs of my work was a company called Alibaba.com, which was the grandfather of all business-to-business websites, owned by the richest man in the Asian world, Jack Ma.
If you're a thief, you have no talent. So that I don't care what nationality you are. You have no talent. You're just a thief.
Right away, Alibaba.com removed the Jamin Bigal's ad because they knew that since they had a U.S. presence, I had a case against them. The problem is neither Jamin Bigal or Ectrade or BizRice or OfficeKind.com, none of those B2B websites have a U.S. presence.
Arby McGrath wrote to Jamin Bigal Company Limited, informing them that they had violated her IPR and copyright by selling copies of her painting. For this violation of my intellectual property rights and copyright and the use of my image on your website, I demand compensation of $100,000 USD, plus 10% of any previous sales of canvas prints or copies of this work, and the removal of my image from your advertising at jaminbigal.com.
Of course, the others just refused to answer completely. They simply did not respond in any way, shape, or fashion. So then my next tactic was to set up a fake company in Los Angeles, and I just wanted to see how far Jamin Bigal was going with the reproduction of my work. Now, they claimed that they were only hand-painted works, but I suspected they were doing machine-printed printouts on canvas that looked like paintings.
Hello, I'm looking at your website, model number BGSL0075 violin. Do you make this picture in canvas prints? Can you tell me how much per print? I am interested in 50 pieces if you can make them in canvas prints. Please give me a quote for shipping. Thank you, Jacqueline Rose Minot. Minot Gallery, Los Angeles, California. And Jamin Bigal Company Limited replied, "Hi, this is Carol. Thank you for your inquiry email. Since I am not office today for a business trip, my colleague, Mr. Leaf, will be answer your queue. and offer a price list for you ASAP in today. Thank you. Leaf, please do your best for our customer. Thanks. Best regards, Carol Chen. Hello, Jacqueline. I have sent you the detailed price list on the attachment. Refer to the list, you may make a better choice. There's 2 sheets in the price list. One is cotton canvas, another one is fabric canvas. And I'd like to let you know that our inkjet printer is made in Japan, which is 98% color reproduction with maintain the color lasts longer. So please let me know if you have any problem or request. We would do our best to fulfill your demands. Looking forward to your reply. Have a nice day. Best regards, Leaf. Jamin Begal Company Limited. Paint the world. Enjoy your life.
They wrote me back and they said that they were more than willing to accommodate me and I would get their best work. They had machines that were imported from Japan and they were able to do printouts, canvas prints, and any other kind of print on very good museum quality paper, and that they wouldn't have their logo on it, and I would get exactly what I was seeing in their advertisement. So when they say that they're only hand-painted copies, they're lying. So I've got the proof that they actually are doing machine-made prints as well as hand-painted copies of it. I've got it in writing. Hello.
To say it's criminal is just a vast understatement. It's far more than that. And where does your sense of confidence and protection come in the next thing you do? You know, now that they've got the key to your gallery to come in there and take anything they want, you know, everything you've got is at their disposal. Where's it stop? Where's it end? And if it's not this same particular individual or same country, if they can do it, anybody else can do it.
Well, I used to get depressed, but now I realize it doesn't do any good to get depressed because there's nothing that can be done. So now I dwell a little bit on the fact that there's nothing that can be done, and I think of down the road and I keep on painting. But there's certain odds you can't beat, and this is one of them. It's a major manufacturer in a communist foreign country where our laws don't apply. They can do whatever they want, and there is absolutely nothing I can do about it. So, you ready? Watch this. www.rbmcgrath.com. Watch. Bingo. And it won't translate for some reason. I have no idea what it is they're selling, what it is they're doing. But anybody now that puts rbmcgrath.com into their search engine ends up at this site. And what it is, I have no idea. So they're capitalizing on my name as well. Thank you. But I realize that I've been working for 50 years, and I have yet to achieve that list of goals I've set down for myself. I don't feel like I'm even really close to it yet. So all the recognition, in the world and everything, and all the accolades and everything that you get, don't help much if you have to struggle to pay your rent. You know what I'm saying? And it bothered me that after 50 years, I've yet to achieve those goals that I have on my list. And then it bothered me that with this Chinese issue, that only one person ever gave any attention to the whole issue of my IPR and copyright being stolen by a Chinese manufacturer, and that was former Congressman Tim Griffin, who arranged for me to talk to the Washington Bureau of the Copyright Office and the IPR division and present my case before them. But in the final analysis, and what really depressed me was the fact that they said the onus is on my shoulders. that I'm the one that have to take care of it. I would have to go to Hong Kong. I would have to hire a Chinese lawyer. I would have to go to China, file a suit in a Chinese court of law in the Chinese language under Chinese rules. And good luck even if you win, because in China, the Chinese court does not determine what your settlement is. The Chinese government does. So in my point of view, the government is just as responsible as its manufacturers that have stolen from me. But all this stuff started running through my mind while I was sitting there, and it got very, very depressing that I'm doing all these battles for all these years and I haven't been able to make anything happen yet. That's what bothers me the most. So, but when I'm painting, I don't even think about it. So maybe I should paint more. Yeah, it was really quite a depressing morning yesterday morning, but got to grin and bear it and keep on going. I'd like to show God that I'm strong and not weak. And I think if you show that strength and you're willing to keep going and willing to keep trying and not give up, then that's a good thing. Well, Edward Munch's The Scream is probably one of the most famous paintings in the world. And the museum where it was harbored did not have very good security at the time. And several years ago, Edward Munch's The Scream was stolen. And it was a heartbreaking story to read. But several months later, I just kept getting some impressions that Edward Munch's The Scream was going to be found again, because it was a different type of theft than what had occurred in other major museums. And I just had a sneaking suspicion that it was going to be found. And then one day I was doing laundry, and I pulled the lint screen out of the dryer. And when I pulled the lint screen out of the dryer, I saw an impression of Edward Munch's The Scream in the lint. 2 weeks later, they found Edward Munch's The Scream. It was amazing, just absolutely amazing. Yeah, the scream on the mouth, the eyes, the hands, and that came out of the dryer like that. And just think, it's saved between two pieces. It's the only one in the world. There's not another one in the entire world. Isn't that neat? I love stuff like this. But what really amazed me though is like I kept having this premonition it was going to be found, and then after I pulled this out of the dryer 2 weeks later, it was in the news that they had found Edward Munch's The Scream and returned it to the museum. I think it went back to the same museum, I'm not real sure, but I think it did. It's a real treasure, I think.